Talk about Doctor Strange and how it pretty much would make my grandma feel like she's back on a 60s acid trip, all right? So Doctor Strange is pretty much one of those movies that I feel like everybody's been kind of anticipating for quite some time. And I feel like sometimes anticipation could be a good thing, sometimes it could be a bad thing. But in this case, is the anticipation worth it? Does it live up to the hype? Or is it a little bit too strange for the general audiences to like really understand just in general? I'm proud to actually say that this movie actually really does live up to the hype. I think it's actually a pretty goddamn good movie just in general. But I feel like this movie does kind of have a few problems, like most movies do, so let's get into this thing right now. Doctor Strange is one of those movies that is very weird. And I'm talking about like somebody pissing on you for like pleasure type of weird, but I guess some people are going to get like a lot of enjoyment out of it just in general. No judgments. But I feel like that's kind of like what it is just to begin with. I feel like this movie is such a strange type of film, no pun intended, to the point where it feels like Marvel is doing something very, very fresh. And I feel like it's something to be amazed at, especially the visual effects, because everybody's going to be circle jerking this visual effects in every fucking review. There's not going to be one review out there that does not praise the visual effects. If you don't, then okay, that's on you. But either way, that's just my thoughts just to begin with. Now, I do feel like this movie does feel very different and feels very fresh, but unfortunately, I feel like it does kind of be pulled back by the cloak pretty much by that Marvel type of formula. I feel like that Marvel formula sometimes really does not work. Or not work, but I feel like it does kind of feel like it's weighing very heavy on this thing. And I feel like this movie tries to go beyond. And I feel like Scott Derrickson really did a good job of trying to opening not only the new MCU world, but a world for Doctor Strange that we have never actually seen on screen. So I feel like he did a really fantastic job at doing that. But then you have that Marvel formula, which is sometimes holding the movie back from, I feel like, going beyond the greatness that it probably could have even been more. It's a great movie for per se, but I feel like it could have been even more greater just to begin with. I feel like that's kind of like the problem. I do feel like the humor in this movie does kind of take a little bit of a dip. I feel like I didn't really laugh at some parts where there's supposed to be humor. To the point where I just felt like, what the hell is going on here? Is somebody punking me? Because this isn't really funny at all. Now, the cast is pretty much the strongest part of this entire film next to the visual effects. I think Benedict Cumberbatch does a fantastic job. Maybe I'm the only one, but I honestly wouldn't even have complained if he had a British accent. And I do feel like maybe the American accent, sometimes in my head, it does kind of feel or sound a little off. Maybe that's just me, but it sounds a little bit off. Rachel McAdams does a decent enough job. Nothing really spectacular. I've seen better nurses on Netflix shows. But that was just my thought, just general. I thought Mads Mikkelsen and Chiwetel Ejiofor, Jesus, was pretty much good. I thought they did a good job, per se. I know Mordor is going to get expanded, so I'm not complaining about his part in here. Mads Mikkelsen is a little bit kind of wasted for the most part. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with his villain. I feel like there wasn't really that much to go for. His character kind of reminded me of like Idris Elba from Star Trek. I feel like great actor, and he's doing a pretty good performance, but I feel like the material is not allowing him to go above and beyond what's on the page. And I feel like that's kind of the problem just to begin with, for me, just in general. And I'm sure people will probably disagree, but that's just my thought to begin with. I feel like this movie is kind of like if you put Inception and The Matrix and, a Marvel formula and throw them in a blender with just a dash of fucking acid and you get Doctor Strange. That's kind of what this movie is. The movie is very exciting to the point where I feel like it's very familiar in some cases, but it's also exciting and fresh on the other one, if that makes any sense per se. The movie does feel very similar to Iron Man, and I feel like that could be a little bit of a problem for some people. I didn't mind it, but this is definitely going to be your face of the MCU going forward, just to begin with. I do feel like this movie does feel sometimes short. I feel like it does. I feel like it could have been longer, or maybe that was just kind of like the fan in me that just kind of wanted to be a little bit longer, like most movies that you like really enjoy. But I just feel like, they could have added some other things in there just to begin with. The movie does kind of close out very well with the post-credit scenes. I recommend you seeing that just in general. But I just feel as if Tilda Swinton also, you have to mention Tilda Swinton. Fantastic job. I feel like that's also the problem. It's just that none of the characters really feel like they're standouts except like Tilda Swinton and maybe, Cumberbatch for the most part. And that's okay. I'm sure they'll probably expand on that later on. But I'm just saying right now, I feel like those were the two standouts by far in this entire movie just to begin with. I do feel like, as I said, the story is fairly, straightforward. I feel like you kind of understand this. I don't mind an origin story, especially with Doctor Strange. Try explaining Doctor Strange to somebody that never heard of Doctor Strange, and I guarantee you, they're going to give you a face like, what the fuck? You'd be like trying to explain, quantum physics to somebody. But overall, Doctor Strange is a very weird and trippy, for the most part, because everybody's using that fucking word, weird type of movie that I feel like is really going to mind fuck you with the visuals. And I just feel like it is a fresh movie to the point where it feels very, very entertaining and cool and weird, but all things that work. It's the problem with the Marvel formula that I feel like doesn't work, which is kind of like sometimes a okay villain, type of humor that sometimes doesn't really work. And, a whole bunch of other shit that you can really kind of name. But overall, Doctor Strange is a movie that I think you definitely should probably see for the visuals, let alone for the most part. But overall, I think this movie gets the job done and what it's trying to be, which is something that is trying to open the doors for the next phase of Marvel. And I definitely believe that you're looking at probably the next phase going forward, because I don't think anybody's going to say Cumberbatch was not good. He's great in a role. And I think they do a good enough job of trying to make this guy be an asshole, but also be likable at the same time. Does it feel like they're trying to make maybe type of Tony Stark for the most part? Yeah, sure, maybe. But that could be a negative or a positive depending on your perspective. But overall, I enjoyed Doctor Strange, and I recommend you definitely see it. But if you are kind of a little bit annoyed at that Marvel type of formula, then, maybe you should at least tread it lightly. But always manage your expectations in some cases. But I think this is actually a really good movie that you should see. And I think it actually might be in the top 5 of my favorite Marvel type of movies. And also, they didn't really acknowledge the Avengers that much. I feel like it's not like, cameo, and like up in your face. I feel like this movie is very self-contained. And I also did really like that. But that's just my thoughts. Like I said, once again, recommend it. You see it when it comes out. There it is. Comment, subscribe, and like. Share the video if you actually enjoyed this video. And I'm Chris Smith, and I'm signing out.